Hey, my wonderful, beautiful people, a pleasant morning to everybody. Now, in the same Observer, I think it was, but I saw it online, where the commissioner is basically kind of, I wouldn't say the word cautioning, but he is sort of having a frank and a plea to the human rights group to not be so critical or harsh with the Jamaica Constabulary Force and its members. What they wanted to do, I'm not sure if they're still going to do it, and perhaps they will, and they possibly should, stick to their whatever it is that they're going to do once it's a good move and a good cause. Protest against the sort of criminal and indecent, I call it, or infractions, misconducts, bad behaviors of police officers. Because of what they have done, people's lives have been lost since the beginning of the year. I know it was something about 200 and odd, in terms of the violent crimes, police brutality, and I'm paraphrasing everything, and the commissioner is basically kind of asking for them to not be too critical. He said, in a post, that they welcome oversight and they basically support an accountability framework. They are not averse to criticism or having a critical not critical criticism as it relates to, they say you have good what's the term that they normally use, sort of like you say, good criticism and bad criticism. I don't remember it offhand, but that some level of understanding and compassion be emitted to the police officers, because it is they are basically, how you're reading it, and this is just using the laws of induction, adding things, that perhaps they're in the business of transformation, because in fairly recent times 107 members were promoted to sergeants, and I'm sure that most probably, or would comprise constables as opposed to corporals. And that's my assumption. I could be wrong, but I'm thinking that is what has happened, and that's a feat. He aided in boosting morale. So he does not want to sort of put one baton in one hand and having to be pulling it out in another hand, so to speak. It wouldn't be under his portfolio, but I guess he's, crying out to say that, don't be too hard and harsh on the members. And I can understand where he's coming from, especially when you're about the business of change and positive transformation. I can understand, but what maybe the commissioner needs to understand is looking on the outside to see how heinous some of these criminal acts have been, and the horrible way and the horrid way that people have lost their lives and families have been devastated, because of that. And what recourse do they get for things like these when it happens, when it falls under the police brutality? In fairly recent times, you see quite a number of these things happening. A brawl is ensued, and people fighting the police fighting the people, and I mean, it is just mayhem. They've wreaked havoc. It is just crazy. It is crazy. One of the things from a psychological perspective, I'm not a psychologist. This is just a basic peripheral thing that anyone can know, even a baby that was just born, that heavy criticism and judgment does not create behavior change for the positive. It actually breeds rebellion, because people are not wired to be taking consistent or constant battering in the same area about the same thing. They're going to get fed up. They're going to get frustrated. Nobody can operate under such a regime that is more than bureaucratic. That's draconian. And people cannot operate under the auspices of a draconian way of life. People don't want every minute, oh, police said this, police said that. That is a, I mean, just think of your own lives. If, for example, you have parents who tear you down 24/7, 48/14, they make no bones in criticizing everything that you do, criticizing how you look, and after a while, resentment will build up, anger will build up. Sometimes, in some bad cases, hate and malice, and that is why we see these horrible killings and people's lives being snuffed out by so-called loved ones, very close knit or close, relatives, families, and so on. So I do agree that heavy criticism cannot create behavior change, but I understand, because of the fact that the ultimate has been committed, where people's lives have been taken. It is very difficult for the for the particular group to just not do anything about it, because they've been trying for years, and instead of things improving, they're escalating. And this is a sad state of reality. It's a sad state of affairs, but it is what it is. So it's very twofold, and I'm hoping that they can come to an amicable agreement about that, protest or march that should happen on the 29th of April, or April 29, 2025. I don't know what's going on. We need healing in our land. We need healing in our land. We just need healing in our land, because it has been very difficult for the Jamaican people all over, but it is what it is. Anyway, guys, I want you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I want you to like and follow me here on TikTok. Additionally, I want you to send me a line or two. Take care.